This represents our bond. How you helped me and how I helped you. You need to remember why we were friends. Just have a little bit of faith.
Hi there, my name is Emily Frew. I'm here on behalf of Timeless Film Festival interviewing NADER Bahu, the director, star, and writer of his film Faith. Thank you so much for being here today, Nader. I wanted to ask you, what are some of the biggest challenges and learning opportunities that you faced with this production?
This was my first big production, meaning not with an iPhone. So I was learning everything on the fly and trying to understand everything at the same time.
What advice would you give to a first-time filmmaker creating an independent short?
So you have to believe in yourself more than anything. I started filmmaking with a phone camera and a pair of Apple earphones. Even though I didn't have the gear or knowledge as many people, I did it because I have the passion. I took basically every role in filmmaking because I wanted to share my stories. You have to be the main driver to make the films that you want to make. Remember, equipment isn't everything, story is.
What alternate versions of this narrative did you consider?
Okay, I see it right here. The first version of this film was only the first scene. The story was supposed to be about a disabled man losing everything, abilities, friends, and feeling stuck in a mentality of defeat. But then I realized a man can lose everything and still have his faith to keep him going. I wanted to show no matter what happens to you that there's still a reason to believe. Keep going after what you believe in. Look at me. I am in a wheelchair, have a voice impairment, and I have other disabilities, but I still believe I can do it. I still believe I could be a filmmaker.
Wow, that's a really powerful sentiment. Thank you so much for sharing that, Nader. Did you have any happy accidents in the filming of this production?
During the scene of the handcuffs, I forgot to record the audio of the handcuffs coming off at the end of the film. Thankfully, the camera got the audio of it, and it created a great effect for when we took off the handcuffs.
If you were to expand on or change this concept of this narrative, what would you do?
For the scene of when I was in a dark room and I was looking at my future self freaking out, it was supposed to represent a man who lost all his faith. The man loses himself, and that's why Gene wasn't there, because Gene represents an angelic figure, and this is what happens to a man who lost connection with his faith. For the scene of when I was in a dark room and I was looking at my future self freaking out, it was supposed to represent a man who lost all his faith. The man loses himself, and that's why Gene wasn't there, because Gene represents an angelic figure. And this is what happens to a man who lost connection with his faith. The whole scene was just an idea I had last minute, and we shot it due to having time to make it. If I can expand on this concept, I would have made Charles chained to a scooter and being in great pain. I think the scene overall showed that, but I sometimes wonder if it was clear to the audience.
Nader, can I ask you another question that I just thought of? Okay. Would you say that like religious faith is a big driver for you in your everyday life or in your creative endeavors?
Yes, I am a Christian man. I always tell people I would be very bitter and angry without believing in Jesus. I wouldn't be who I am right now without Jesus. I even pray over this film to make sure it all works out, and it did.
Thank you for sharing that, Nader. I'd love to hear about a moment where a member of your crew or yourself overcame an obstacle or hurdle in filming.
Adam Rockner is the cinematographer of the film, and he was simply a masterclass worker. I am grateful he worked with me because I truly learned a lot from him during our meetings with the shot list and line script. He was the one who created a camera helmet for me to wear to get a POV shot, and during the editing, he colored the whole film, even though he had to do it online due to the pandemic. I learned a lot from him, and he is someone that you want to work with because he truly does care about the craft and the art of filmmaking. Another person is Diani Borges. She was the first assistant director. She came on the project and she did so much work, which I believe that the film wouldn't have happened without her. I am so grateful on how she made sure I was okay on set and that we were on time. She made it all work out, and she's amazing. Gabrielle Trejo was the actress in the film, and she is a great friend of mine. Let me do that part over again. Gabrielle Trejo was the actress in the film, and she is a great friend of mine. I am glad she was on the project and how we made this project together. I felt that we worked well together on the scenes, and she put in the work that helped me. She is an incredible actress. She is based in Oakland and definitely someone who deserves more work in films.
What were some of the inspirations or motivations for creating this film?
The main inspiration of this story is my own Christian faith, as well as experiencing myself losing abilities. I do struggle with my own self and believing in myself, but I know deep down God has it all planned out. Specific Bible verse like, faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains, is the main one. I did not want to make it preachy as well, so that's why I did a lot of symbolism like the handcuffs. The structure of the film was inspired by the Christmas Carol, Gene taking Charles to his past, future, and present. X-Men inspired the name of the characters, and in one of the films, there was a scene of Professor X talking to a younger version of himself.
In what ways can the public aim to be better advocates towards people with disabilities?
My disability specifically is very rare, and I might be the first one to have it. It's a muscle disability, but I don't know what the specific name. I just know it's something I have to deal with every day, most often alone. I use it to do things like walking. I used to do things like walking, but now I mostly stay home. The disability doesn't get easier as I grow because I'm constantly changing and constantly being affected by these changes. I won't get into details, but it's like living like an outsider, and you never truly belong to any specific group because you are the only one who have to deal with it. My main advice is to just show kindness and be actually genuine because nothing hurts more than people using you due to your identity for their own selfish purposes.
All right, this was a wonderful interview. Nader, thank you so much for joining us on behalf of Timeless Film Festival on July 8th. We're looking forward to watching it in that setting.